Right now, you're looking at the most powerful spot on A site, and if you're confused why, let me quickly explain. So as you can see, this spot right here in the door is actually the perfect off angle for everybody that is coming towards A on T side. If you don't believe me, let me quickly show you. So if I'm coming out ramp as a T, the first thing I'm going to check is CT, and then after that, I'm going to probably check this side of default, and then I'm going to think about checking under balcony. So let's go ahead and do that, and by the time I get here, you may have already realized something. I'm already dead to the person that was on that wall a long time ago. If anybody comes out towards Tetris here, I have a pretty easy kill on them because they're not going to be expecting me and it's just a headshot angle. But what if they come out palace? Well, what if they come out palace? Let's have a look. If I come out palace, you might think, oh, it's impossible basically to see you. They're probably not going to. And the person coming out palace is not going to be the first person to contact. One more thing that I saw that people didn't like about the spot is that you are very exposed to flashes. Everywhere here I can get flashed. Well, if you do, all you have to do is just get tucked into default while you're blind, and then once you're unblind, go ahead and try again. I want to show you a Molotov that's going to win you so many clutches, and it's really easy. So if you ever plant the bomb either right here at triple, maybe even here, or here on reverse default, there's a Molotov you can throw from ramp that's going to win you the round. So like I said, let's say that we're here, it's a 1v1, maybe it's a 1v2, and we're ready to throw the Molotov. You're actually going to quickly look for this white stain here, and you're going to run throw. The Molotov will bounce off of this thing that you did not know was slanted, and it will land to cover off these plant spots. So if anyone's trying to defuse the bomb in any of these spots, there's a pretty good chance they're not going to be able to. Now, again, the exception being this spot, but you're going to be able to peek it if you know that that is the spot that is planted. You're going to be able to peek it afterwards anyway, and sometimes it does spread that far out. So just keep that in mind. This Molotov is absolutely insane, and you definitely should know it if you're going to be playing Mirage. If you've ever been playing under balcony, there's this really annoying thing that can happen is if under balcony were to get mollied, you only have two choices. You either peek out and try to go for one before you die, or you smoke this molly, and when you smoke the molly, what happens is the entire under balcony gets smoked. So we can prevent this by this really cool smoke that I learned the other day, which is that if you are about to get mollied, you can actually throw a smoke on top of the balcony here that will spread down and cover off the molly and actually give you a little bit of room to still play under balcony. And it's a really easy smoke to throw. As you saw, I just threw it. So you could throw this as a preemptive measure as well. If you know they're about to molly, you can actually just come here and throw this smoke on top of the balcony before they do that. The way I personally have been doing it is I like to just stand on the right side of the ladder and left right click at the top of it like this, and the smoke is actually going to just, you know, come down and cover off any potential mollies. So from their perspective, if they molly, obviously it's not going to work, and you still have all the room in the world to work with in case you want to try to play this and get some kills. So go ahead and try this smoke out. I think it's extremely useful and you can get a lot of value out of it. Does your stair smoke look like this in CS2? It gives you this really annoying smoke in the sandwich position, and it doesn't really cover off the top of stairs that well. Well, luckily for you, there's been a new lineup that's been discovered, and a lot of the pros have been throwing it on Mirage. And what it is whenever you come up here, you can actually stand like this on the left side of this pillar, and if you look straight ahead, there's a dot here. But you're going to aim to the white line above the dot, and you're going to left right click, which is a middle click for those of you guys that always ask in the comments. Hold both left and right click, and then you're going to jump though. What's going to happen is the smoke is going to take a nice bounce here, and it'll perfectly cover off the stairs, and it does not give you that really annoying sandwich smoke. And the best part about this is that since you're throwing this right here with your teammate throwing the jungle smoke, you guys are already close to ramp, and you can just easily go out as well with some flashes from your teammates. So go ahead and try out the stairs smoke or the jungle smoke if you just learned it right now. I want to show you probably the strongest Molotov on all of Mirage, and it's super important that you know this. So this Molotov is going to get default, firebox, and ninja, and it's very good to throw on A executes. So all you're going to do is as you're coming out of ramp, as soon as you can see this box right here, you're just going to aim above it to the height of this trim here and left click throw. The Molotov is going to land on top of firebox, which will spread to default, firebox, and ninja. So anybody playing any of these positions will be forced into the open, and it's a really important Molotov to know in my opinion, and it's super easy to just throw on your way out. Like you could be on your way on an execute, just take a second, throw the Molotov, and you keep going, and you just wait for everybody to run out because all of their spots have been mollied out. Let's say that there's somebody default. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a 1v2 for this guy on T side. But it's important to note that if somebody is standing back in default, you can actually see their head over default really easy. Like I just dinked him without a wallbang. I'll pull out the op so you can actually see if it's, you know, see it a lot clearer. Very easy. So just keep that in mind if you're on T side or even CT side. You'll catch a lot of people that are doing this. Even the pros get kills on this, but that's not what I wanted to teach you. What I wanted to teach you was that if you're ever in a situation where you know somebody is avoiding you, maybe they're crouched, you can actually use these benches to see over triple here, and you can actually catch a lot of people off guard. Maybe it's a 1v1 situation and you're in this, you know, spot here. You can actually just patiently wait for this guy on default to outplay himself. So he's going to be like spotting you here, and he's like, okay, I'm going to wait for the timing, and then I'm going to peek to the left side, and then you're up on top of this part right here, and you catch him and you win the round. make him look like an idiot because you watched Austin CS. One of the most difficult Molotovs to throw in the game is an underbalk Molotov. Now the reason this is so hard is because in order to Molotov, you're gonna have to step all the way out to Tetris and then throw it. And there's a lot of downtime here where you could be getting peeked from anywhere on the site. So let me show you a way to throw it from Palace. It's a lot safer and a lot more consistent. So let's say that you're in Palace and your teammates want you to Molotov under balcony. Well, the first way is the easy way. If you're able to get to this side of Palace, you can just aim right here and left click throw. And that's gonna be a really easy Molotov. But the problem is that you might not be in this position every round because it's extremely difficult to cross without getting spotted. So instead you can throw it from over here. You're gonna line up on this pillar like so, on this little line. You're gonna put your crosshair at the bottom of where this corner comes in, and you're gonna run and then let go when this flower is on the right of your screen. So if we do it, you'll see it looks just like this. And for those of you guys watching in vertical formats, you'll just have to take my word for it, go practice it, and the Molotov's gonna land comfortably without any issues at all. I wanna show you this really cool pop flash that I actually made in CSGO that I actually haven't talked about in CS2 yet, so let me quickly show you. Now, if you're ever retaking the A site of Mirage, what you can do is you can get stuck in this corner right by this trash can, and then you can aim straight up in the air. You can look for this line anywhere in this area and give it a left click throw. What will happen is the flash will bounce and perfectly pop in order to blind anybody on the site. Now, you might think that that flash is a little obvious and it's a little loud, maybe they'll hear it, but in the chaos of an A execute, there's a pretty good chance that they actually will miss this. And as you can see, it's pretty hard to see. It will blind Firebox, it will blind Default, it'll blind Sandwich, it'll even blind somebody that's sitting here holding for you to swing out CT. And one more thing that it will blind that I didn't mention is if there's somebody posted on you with the op from Apex, it'll also get him too. A while back, I made a video on the easiest window smoke for Mirage, and at the time the lineup was something like this. If you've seen the video already though, stay tuned because I'm going to show you why this lineup is not that good. So the smoke lands in window as expected, and of course the problem with this window smoke is that there is a new meta nade to throw, which is when you get into this corner here and you jump throw the nade, it'll actually blow open the smoke where these CTs can then peek you. So the pros came up with a new lineup out of spawn that you can use that the nade does not work on, and it's like this. So out of spawn from the same spot, you're gonna get stuck in this corner, but now you're gonna aim this high in the air, do the same thing as before. You're gonna hold D and jump throw, and when that happens, the smoke is gonna fly through the air, and guess where it's gonna land? All the way in towards window. But the one main difference is that now when you throw this nade, the smoke will not get blown up, so you cannot get picked. One of the new metas in CS2 is to give yourself one ways by shooting holes in the smoke, and the most common example of this is in window on Mirage. If you get a nice window smoke, by the way, my smokes are pink, just ignore that. If you get a nice window smoke that lets you stand on top of here, you can actually shoot the corner here of the smoke, and you get a big hole, and if anybody's top mid, you will be able to kill them. It's best to do this with the A1S because you don't actually have tracers, and because of that, it's very hard for them to see without looking at the back wall here when you're shooting. So they might walk out, there's going to be a hole in the window smoke, and you can get an easy kill. Another really good example of this is in connector. If you throw a connector smoke that lands on the stairs, that is, you can get a way to do this by shooting right here, and if anybody comes out, you can easily see them. If you're ever in window and you need to get out a site, maybe it's a retake, there's actually a sneaky flash that you can throw, which is actually if you throw it off of the corner of this wall here. As you can see, by doing that, it will actually bounce off of the wall and it will blind anybody that's holding you from sight. Now, if you don't run through and you just give it a simple left click, what will happen is the flash won't go that far and it will actually blind anybody from Palace or from Default that could be holding you. As you can see here, the flash will perfectly blind off Palace just long enough for you to sneak out. You can even use it as a smoke to get out of jungle. Let's say that opera is on you again and you need to get out, there's a little smoke. There's also another slant right here on cat that you might not know. As you can see, this wall is slanted, which means that you can bounce flashes to blind somebody cat, you can bounce mollies, you can bounce smokes. All of these are really good, and I highly recommend that you do this. If you're a cat player on Mirage, I actually know a trick that you absolutely need to know if you want to win more games. Let's say we've made our way into ladder room. If they know we're here or not, it doesn't really make a difference, but once you're up here, if you can actually get this vent broken, maybe you broke it in the beginning of the round or your teammate broke it, what you can do is you can actually sneak down on top of these bricks here, like I have the bot placed. And when you're here, you have a lot of options. Now it's silent to get down, so you don't have to worry about them hearing you. And you can actually catch them off by holding some insane off angles. So let's say I just want to wait for somebody to walk into bottom con. Well, I can do that because when they're ready to walk in, they're going to be dying from something that they didn't even know existed. Or maybe somebody did see you go into ladder room. Maybe they're holding from you. Maybe they're holding from chair. Well, what you can do is if somebody's there, you can drop down onto these bricks, get the kill on the person holding you, and then jump back into ladder like it never happened. One of Mirage's biggest secrets is these boxes, and I'm not really sure why they exist, but in CSGO I did actually have a theory that I'd like to restate for CS2, and it's that I think these boxes are supposed to be used on T side. Now, the reason I think that is because if you've ever tried to use these boxes on CT side, you probably didn't get very far. This spot is not very good. But on T side, it's a little bit different because the map flips, and now you're on defense for looking this way instead of that way. So because of that, what you can do is you can get a teammate to boost you up here. Now, I know that might seem like pulling teeth in your regular matches, but if you're able to get a teammate to boost you up here, you can actually use this spot to hold everywhere. If you want to hold towards short, as you can see here, I can use this really insane head glitch in order to hold. People coming from short will look for you, and well, they're not going to get very far because they're not going to expect you up there. And because of that, you might think, Austin, this spot's actually not that good because I can get seen from market. That is technically true, but if you're up on top of this angle, hopefully if you know that they can be peeking you from here, you will instead play on this side because that spot is just as good, and if they jump out market, they're as good as dead. One of the most commonly missed Molotovs in CS is actually the Van Molotov towards B site on Mirage, and you might be wondering, what do I mean by that? And there's a lot of people who actually have been throwing this Molotov wrong and they don't even realize it. For example, one of the most common examples I see in a lot of my pugs is when people throw the Molotov like this. If you don't know what's wrong with this Molly, allow me to show you. The Molotov doesn't even land Van at all. It actually slips right past this little window here, and it doesn't do anything. Another example of somebody missing the Molotov is when they end up in the back corner here, and sometimes they don't spread all the way up, and it lets people still play in this close cubby here, which could be, well, problematic. So let me show you the actual best way to throw it, which is to find this part of the wall, as you can see where the white and the red intersect up there, and you're just gonna run through. Not that you necessarily need a lineup for this, but just make sure that you don't miss this in your next Mirage game. If you're the sorry soul that always gets stuck anchoring B on Mirage, let me quickly show you the best way to jump spot. That way you never give up an annoying op pick again. Now, it's pretty boring, but it's also pretty easy. So whenever you're ready to jump spot, you're gonna pull your knife out or maybe a piece of utility, and you're going to hold A and strafe in jump. Basically, it's just jump spotting. But the trick is you always want to jump in the middle of this wall here. That way you give the least amount of info to the other team. That way you don't give them a chance to get a pick on you. Now, if you know that they already know that you're there, maybe you saw somebody, there's another jump spot that you can do, which is from back here by this box, and you do the same concept, and we're looking through those windows. If I stop at the top here, you can actually see right through, and the best part about this one is that if they are coming, we're already heading this way anyway, so we can find a good spot to hold the sight from. And as a bonus, let me show you something you can throw if you do see somebody in apps. If you see somebody, you can throw this, oh man, this defensive smoke, which will allow you to play a cool spot. If you've ever wanted to rush B, you can actually throw both of these arch smokes if you have one teammate, and it makes for a very good B rush, especially if you have good flashes. So let me show you all of that. So first off is the left arch smoke, which is funny on the right. The left arch smoke, you can stand right like this, and you're gonna look for this white dot, and you're gonna jump though. That's an easy one. And then you can tell your teammate that he can learn this one right here, where you get stuck on the left side of this post and look for the corner where this connects to, I don't know what you want to call this, and jump though. If you and a teammate throw both of these smokes, you will get both of the arch smokes. Now, obviously, the benefit being is that on these B rushes, there's always going to be a cat player, and they are going to struggle to see you, from cat, because obviously these smokes do a really good job at denying that. Obviously, the people that throw the smokes who would want to throw the flashes, you can quickly come over here, line up on this pillar, look for the bottom right of the window, and then run and jump though. And these flashes are personally my favorite flashes to throw for a B rush because it blinds anybody underneath the window, it blinds anybody that's holding from the van position, and it also blinds anyone on the site while not blinding your teammates. There's actually a new angle that's been added to Mirage B site, and if you have been playing a lot, you might have seen people using it against you, and it's pretty straightforward. So if you're ever playing towards B and you have time, you can just jump up on the bumper of the van here. Now, I know this might seem like a simple tip, but the amount of times that this angle has caught me off guard personally is astounding, because what happened was in CSGO, you could always stand on the bumper, but you could only stand on this part of it. So you would have an off angle to deep apps that looked a little something like this, but in CS2, they made the entire bumper something that you can stand on, which means that you can get angles like this deep into apartments. And this angle might not seem very good, but if we come into apps and look around here, as you can see, we can only see his head, so it's a pretty strong angle. And now you can just make the jump from on top of the bumper here, on top of the balcony, which means that if you're not very good at hitting skill jumps like me, you can now do it in one smooth motion just by jumping up on top there. And it's a nice little way to save some time, and you should still probably practice it because it's still a little difficult, but it does mean that you can make this jump a lot easier and faster. Sometimes your opera might want to go for a fast pick in apartments and they want a boost, but you need to know how to do it right. Now, a lot of people think that you need to stand on this line to boost boost your opera, but actually you shouldn't do that because that will get him killed. Instead, what you need to do is stand past the line to where you can see that you visibly went down a little bit like this. And once you're standing there, your opera will be able to make the jump from on top of this little default plat here and then jump up and then post in apps. Now, if you do this really quickly, you will actually have a very fast pick into apartments, and people that might be coming B quickly might not expect the opera to be already on the balcony. So go ahead and try this out. It does take a little bit of practice making the jump and standing in the right spot, but once you get it, it'll be nice and smooth and you can try it in your next game. Just make sure you don't mess it up like that because that would be embarrassing. And then there you go. That should get you some free kills. Many people know about this sneaky angle that you can play behind the cash register in market, but people don't know some of the tricks about it. So let me quickly show you some cool things. Now, the first thing is if you suspect somebody to be playing behind there, don't wallbang the cash register by itself because this is actually not spammable. So you might be mistaken if you think that you've cleared the angle by spamming the cash register because that is not enough. Instead, what you can do if you think that somebody's there is you can shoot them through the bottom here. Now, if I quickly turn off my command, you can see that this is doing quite a bit of damage. And if somebody were to be playing there, they wouldn't be happy. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was that if you want to play this spot, if you want to crouch here, that is not enough. You will have to look down as well. Otherwise, you might get spotted. So keep that in mind the next time that you think somebody could be hiding behind this cash register, or maybe if you want to play behind it as well, just keep that in mind. With us two being added back into the map pool, it's important for us to get a refresher on all the smokes that we used to use in CSGO, starting with the Xbox smoke. So of course, if you want to smoke off Xbox, all you're going to have to do is out of spawn, you're going to find yourself in this corner, you're going to aim at this stain, super easy, and then just jump throw. And what you'll get is a smoke that flies through the air, bounces off of this step right here, and then lands and smokes Xbox. But I could do you one better because there's actually a way to throw it a little bit faster if you're a more experienced player. And of course, if you get a spawn that's close to a mid right here, what you can do is you can line up very quickly on the edge of this wall, find your crosshair in the bottom left part of the window, and then jump though. It's a very loose lineup, and most of the pros use this one instead of the one I just showed you. It works, it lands a lot faster, and it's definitely good. I want to talk about one of the smokes that they're throwing specifically, which is the mid-door smoke, because instead of throwing the Xbox smoke, they're throwing a mid-door smoke from spawn, and I'll quickly show you the lineup that Mouse is using. So what they'll do is they'll have their player who has the closest spawn immediately will get stuck in this part of the railing right here, and he will aim to the right of this box. There's a little stain there. And of course, when you're ready, you're going to give it a regular jump throw. Now, what's going to happen is the smoke is going to bounce off of the ramp in mid, and it's going to land to perfectly smoke off mid doors. And since it lands in the correct spot, it will actually spread up to cover this annoying gap at the top. So you won't have to worry about any of the Alpers peeking over the smoke, and it's just a pretty good solution. The thing that's also really good about this smoke as opposed to an Xbox smoke is that it gets rid of all of those annoying angles that people can potentially play around the Xbox smoke. What you're looking at might be the new meta for Dust 2 going into CS2, and if you're confused on what this is, I'm going to quickly explain what it is and how to throw it. So in CSGO, we had a smoke that we called the hinge smoke, which was a smoke that would be thrown like this. It would land on top of the hinge, and because smokes would go through walls in that game, it would go through the wall and cover off the jump to Xbox like this. Now, of course, that's no longer possible in CSGO, but what is possible is to throw a smoke on top of the doors that will spread down that gives you the same idea. Now, in order to throw this smoke, you're going to line up like this on this wall here. Now, you're going to remain crouched, and you're going to turn around and look for this line in the door, aim up to the height of this, and you're going to give it a right-click jump throw. And when you do that, the smoke will land on top of the door, and it will actually spread down to cover it off, giving you something very similar to the hinge smoke in CSGO, actually better than that. And yeah, there you go. There's the new smoke. I guarantee we're going to be seeing this in pro matches. If you want to go B site, you might need two smokes, and I want to show you a very easy way to smoke off B door and, of course, B window. All you're going to have to do is when you want to smoke B door, you're going to line up on this lock like this. You're going to put your crosshair in the window, very reminiscent of the Mirage stairs smoke. And once you find your crosshair like this, you're just going to left click, and that's going to give you a perfect B door smoke. But while that one's being thrown, you can also tell a teammate to throw the window smoke, and this one's super easy. All you have to do to throw window is you're going to line up in this corner outside in T-spawn. With the removal of the skyboxes, this is now possible, of course, and whenever you're here, you're going to aim at the top dot like this and then jump throw. This smoke is very cool because it uses the new CS2 smoke mechanic, of course, to smoke off the window as well as any potential boost. As you can see, the smoke will spread down, and when paired with the door smoke, you have a B execute on your hands. New Vertigo is officially out, and of course with that comes the need for new smokes. So I want to quickly show you the new meta smoke for elevator as well as the new meta smoke for the middle of site, and we're going to get right into it really quickly. So the first one is actually thrown from sandbags right here. You're going to line up on the corner. Once you've done that, you're going to stand, look for this part of the wall here and give it a jump throw. That's going to land in elevator, but the other smoke is even easier. So if you remember the original smoke, you would throw it like this. For this one, you're going to stand in the same spot and you're going to look to the height of, or to the middle of this bar, just like so, and left click. Now, when you throw both of these, you're going to have the new smokes for executing the A site. So get out there, try these out, and let me know how it goes for you. In case you guys are wondering, these are the ones that Complexity and Mouse Sports were using in the first event in IEM Dallas. In the endless battle of CS2 versus Shadows, there is another one that you should probably know, which is that if you ever try to walk up this side hall tarp, there is a shadow that shows through the wall if you get too close to it. And as you can see here, there is a guy standing behind the wall here. That's what this is. It's very easy to see. It's not normally there. Here's the person. And let me come back here and make the bot go away, and the shadow goes away too. So if there's anybody creeping up this side hall at all, you will be able to see them. So as you can see, anywhere that my shadow shows on this yellow part, I can get spotted. So if I'm standing here waiting for somebody to peek me, as you can see here, there is a little bit of a spot right here in the grate, which means that there's a person there, and actually the closer I get, you can see that it actually moves. So if I know he's here, that means I can spam him through here without him even giving away any sound cues, any audio cues. He just walked in front of my shadow, and I don't really think that that's a lot of fun or very fair. Now the one thing is that you can avoid this if you creep up on the right side here, but your angle is really bad going up side hall. A long time ago, I talked about how the white pillars on Vertigo are completely spammable, and it seems like Valve must have heard me because they are all patched up except for this one on headshot, where if you have an op and you think that there could be somebody headshot, you can actually spam right through here and potentially kill somebody hiding there. Now, if you hit them in the head, it will actually do 200 damage, which will actually instant kill somebody. As you see here, he has full health and armor, and it could be really good. Situationally, of course, this could actually win you around. If you know that there's somebody stuck there, you can try to kill him by spamming, mollying, any of that, and it's really effective. Now, it's also important to note that this does work both ways. So if you're a headshot and you think that there's somebody hiding, maybe right here, you could even potentially spam that guy just by spamming like this. As you can see, another one that does 200 damage. Lots of potential for this spam. Everybody's favorite spot to hide on Vertigo is sandbags right here on the A site. But if I told you that it was possible to get spammed while you're crouched here, would you believe me? Well, you better believe me, because it is 100% possible to get spammed here, and let me show you what the pros do. So if you ever find yourself here on T side clearing out the map, you actually might notice that underneath the sandbags there is a wood pallet holding them up, and wood in CSGO is completely spammable, which means that if you shoot through the bottom of the wood here and hit their feet, you actually will be able to do damage to them, and it's a pretty decent amount. So if you look here, we line it up, look at that, I did 20 damage on these people that are hiding sandbags, and even if you don't get a kill, which let's be honest, it's not very likely, you will always be able to see the blood on the wall if you do hit them. So before you get up close, you will actually be able to say, I did shoot him, and you could maybe nade it after that, you could maybe molly after that. There's a lot of opportunities, and it's one better if you have the op, because if you get into position, you actually can sometimes see them through the bottom, and you could get a free kill. I want to quickly show you how to smoke this room off, and kind of how I think that the map will play. So it'll be from the same spot as before. This would be where you would throw the normal left side smoke with a jump throw. This will smoke off the left side, but now if you get a teammate to drop you a smoke and you aim right here where the tarp meets the wire and give it a left click and right click throw, remember that is middle click, hold both and let go at the same time, you will get a perfect elevator smoke. So if you throw both of these at the same time, you'll pretty much have Vertigo how it used to be. I want to show you the new AXX smokes that all the teams are using at the major, and what it looks like is that the smoke that throws is, well, thrown from ramp that lands on top of headshot, and of course the same left side smoke as always. But the point is that now with this new smoke, nobody can see you from heaven, so it makes crossing a lot safer, and as well as people can't jump up headshot and kill you. So let me show you the smokes. That's what you want to see. Now the left side smoke is the same. It's in the corner of these sandbags, aiming right here, jump throw, easy peasy. But the other smoke is brand new, and what you're going to do is you're going to find this part of the wall here. Now it is a little bit difficult, but just remember it's in the middle here, and you're going to line up on this shadow, and you're going to aim at the corner of this part of the building, and then you're going to left click though. That's going to be your new right side smoke that you can try, and it's going to bounce up and land on top of headshot. Super easy smoke, and of course it does make that smoke wall that we talked about. So if you combine them together, you're going to get the new Vertigo meta. If you find yourself sitting behind the ramp smoke, that is very annoying. So let me show you a really good nade that you could throw that can make the ramp smoke go away for a second. So right here, if you stand in between this wood and this part of the wall, you can find the vents on the ceiling here, and you can aim like this, and then you're going going to do a left and right click throw. That is a middle click. You're holding down both mouse buttons at the same time. And then once you let go of both at the same time, the nade will land perfectly in the middle of the smoke and blow it up. So let me show you what that would look like. So let's say you want to peek. What you could do is you could just go ahead, line up the nade, throw it, and then when you peek, the smoke will go away and you can catch people that are walking down the ramp. It's very common for the CTs to walk down the ramp while it's smoked and get down on the close part. That way a teammate can flash them in to take ramp. You'll see this all the time at every single level, and if you throw this nade at the right timing, it could get you a couple of free kills. There's a very sneaky position on B ramp of Vertigo that most people don't know about. Now you might think that I'm about to tell you about a spot that's right here underneath the grate here where you can't see. You might think that I'm going to tell you about behind this pillar, but no, it's actually behind this box, and you might be super confused. You're like, where do you even hide behind this box? It's not even that big to hide. But wait a minute. Are you telling me that you can crouch and hide behind this box and not get spotted from ramp? And yes, I am. It is a very strong spot that most people don't know about, and it's very hard to get seen from. They have to come all the way out to here to see you, and by the time that they're here, most of the time, you can actually see them as well. So it's actually a very strong spot. If you ever want to hide here, if you know that they like to play aggressive, you can wait for them to come all the way out to the wood wall and then catch them. If they try to jump up on top of the danger wall, of course, you have that advantage there. And yeah, this spot is a very good spot, and I almost think nobody knows about this. I would actually go as far as to say is I guarantee nobody has ever seen this before. It's a very strong spot. If you want to go beyond Vertigo, let me show you a really cool utility set that you can throw for your teammates, and it's super easy. It's a smoke for right side and left side generator along with a Molotov and a God Flash. All you're going to have to do is out of spawn, you're going to take under B, and once you have this, you're going to ask a kind teammate to drop you a smoke in this corner, and once he does that, you're going to crouch and you're going to aim right here for the right side generator smoke, and once you have your crosshair, you're going to stand, not move it, and left click. Then you're going to pick up that smoke that your teammate dropped you, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to crouch and aim at this black dot. It's going to be harder to see, so I zoomed it in as best I could, and you're going to do the same thing, stand, not move your crosshair, and left click though, and you're going to get a right and a left side generator smoke. Now these are of course very strong for taking the site, but we can combine that with a Molotov and a God Flash. Let's show it really quick. If you aim at the top of this yellow part, you can actually left click though and get the Molotov for default. If anybody's playing here, they'll get burned into the open, and of course the God Flash is just at the same spot as well. Pops in front, blinds everybody for your teammates to scale. Easy. Let me show you two of the strongest boosts on Vertigo T site, and let's start off with the wire boost. Everybody's probably been doing this wrong for as long as I can remember, so let me show you the correct way to do it. Now, if you ever want to wire boost, the person that's going to get boosted needs to go up onto the tall part here. Now, after that, the person who's going to do the boosting is going to be on the part that's in the middle here, and once he stands there, the person that's on the higher part can actually jump from on top of it to their head. If I could figure out how to no clip, it would look like this, and then you would be able to peek towards default. And the best part about this one is that after you get a kill, you can jump up and then take the space that you're given. Now the next boost is actually the boost that goes towards the danger wood here. Just that the person that's going to do the boosting just stands on this generator like this on the wall, on this close part here. Then you can actually jump from on top of the wood pallets to their head, and then you can jump back over, and it's only 2 jumps this time for you to get to the danger wood. Incendiary grenades were changed in the most recent CS2 update, and on screen right now you have a visual of the difference between an incendiary and a Molotov. Let me show you the new incendiary. It costs $500, and whenever you throw it, you are going to see blue flames around it so that you can know that that's incendiary instead of a Molotov. Now, of course, the main difference is being that this is significantly smaller than the Molotov, and it only lasts 5.5 seconds, whereas a normal Molotov will last 7 seconds. So if we throw this one molly right here, and we grab this Molotov, and we can go up really high so we can see the difference between the sizes. This is what a normal incendiary will cover, and if we throw a Molotov, as you can see, it is just significantly bigger. So the next time you're playing CS and you see a Molotov and an incendiary on the ground, maybe you should go with the Molotov because it's just better now. One of the best spots in CSGO Inferno was to play behind default here behind the wall, because it was really good to catch Halls pops because you could dodge the flashes and catch people as they were jumping out, and if they were coming up lane, most of the time they were coming in and checking cold first before they check back default, so you could at least get almost one every single time. But the problem is that this spot has been nerfed in this map, because now if you want to play there, all it takes is a couple bullets from the person coming up lane to completely neutralize this position, and it's very strong. Like, I've gotten a lot of kills on people that are just standing here because they think that they're safe, and it really just is a free kill. Now, it doesn't even get any better if you were to crouch, because you could still spam them crouched as well. The only thing would be is that you need to spam a little bit lower. Just be careful when you're playing this spot, and if you're coming up lane, make sure you shoot a few bullets in here. You never know, you might catch a dink, you might even get a kill. Historically, the most dangerous Molotov to throw on Inferno was the pit Molotov, because you had to be in the open to throw it, and what would happen is basically every time you were throwing this Molotov, either the person pit would just outright peek you, or you would get peeked by somebody on top of the balcony, or somebody backside would peek you. I think you're getting the point. It was a dangerous Molotov to throw. So with that being said, it still should be, right? Well, it's actually not, because in CS2, they've tweaked the map just enough to where you can actually throw this Molotov without ever exposing yourself, and it's definitely a must know. So here it is. So first things first is when we're ready to go on the site, we're gonna make sure nobody's standing on balcony, because that's the only angle that we can be seen from now. And once we figure that out, we're gonna pull out our Molotov and we're gonna look for this rock that we see right here. Now, once we find this rock, it's gonna run and jump though. Now, what's gonna happen is the Molotov is gonna bounce off of this new conveniently angled wall, and it will land in the pit. And of course, the pit player will never see you at all. One of the important smokes that you might need is a moto smoke. So I want to quickly show you the easiest moto smoke that I know, which is from right here in mid. If you line up on the part of the garage door like this, and then you aim in the bottom box of this flower pot and give it a left click throw, you will have a very simple moto smoke. As you can see, the smoke will bounce a few times, but it will land a perfectly smoke off moto. In CS2, they've added this new skill jump that you can do, and probably almost everybody can do, because it's, well, a lot easier. And if you're a movement guy like myself, you can do it a little bit faster, because if you can actually jump from on top of the truck onto here with a nice little skill crouch jump, and then you can go up on top of the boost. This only saves a little bit of time, but it could make a difference, especially if you're trying to do this in the middle of a round and you don't want to make a bunch of noise. You can easily get up here and play this off angle, and you can obviously still make the jump over here just like you would before. So go ahead and try that out. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it, I'm pretty sure you could do it every time. They actually added a really cool new cubby in the archway here, but you probably already knew that, so let me blow your mind. If you have an arch smoke down, you can actually get a teammate to get into this cubby, and you can boost on his head, and when the arch smoke eventually goes away, you have a really good angle to hold for people that are coming towards arch. Now, I don't have the ability to place a bot, but let's just imagine that you have somebody standing to the left of this flower pot. What can happen is people will come around here expecting to peek mid, and you're shooting them from up here. It's a really cool off angle, and it's pretty much guaranteed to get you a kill, especially since this is a new angle in Inferno, and a lot of people aren't going to be expecting this. Let me show you the new arch smoke that you're going to want to throw. So now that it's a lot easier to do, and it's pretty straightforward. So all you're going to do is you're going to come here when you're ready to smoke off arch, and you're going to line up on the left side of this window here. You're going to find your crosshair on the top right of this garage door, and then you're just going to jump throw. One should know it, just like it used to be in CSGO, a super easy arch smoke, and of course it lands very deep, but with CS2 smokes, it's perfect, and nothing really out of the ordinary here. It lets you lurk into that cubby just like the other one did. It actually smokes out this cubby completely. So yeah, a cool little arch smoke. If you want to take banana, it can seem a little overwhelming, but let me show you a really cool utility set that you can throw with one friend that'll pretty much guarantee that you have a chance every round, and it's really easy. So out of spawn, you're going to run over here like this, and you're going to look for this window as you're running, this one right here, and you're going to throw a smoke as soon as you can see the window, but you're not finished, because before you're done, you're going to get stuck on the corner here, and you're going to look for this light to the right of that pipe there. Now, I did zoom it in to make it a little bit easier. You should probably practice this as well before you try it in a game, but once you find that light, you're going to left click, and this smolly is going to land and perfectly cover off both of the sides, and it leaves no positions for the T's to play without smoking themselves off. Now, this is a really cool piece of utility that you could throw. What you can do is you can have your teammate throw this one flash right here, where they jump throw it off of the wall, and it's going to land up there. So anybody that's coming into banana is going to get blind by this flash, and of course, since you're swinging with it, it won't blind you. They really have nowhere that they can play. If you want to be a support player on Inferno, you might find yourself throwing the traditional God Flash on your B executes, but the problem with this flash is that if your teammates don't understand what's happening, this flash is very likely to blind people, because they think that you're throwing a good flash that won't blind them if they're coming in, but in reality, the God Flash is a flash that blinds every angle, but your team is supposed to dodge it as it pops, and then they peek when it's unpopped. But there's actually been a new God Flash that's been discovered in Pro Play, and you can try it out here. This one's actually perfect, and it won't blind your teammates. So when you're ready to execute the B site, you're just going to find yourself in front of the half wall here. You're going to look for this bottom window, and then you're just going to left click. Now, the thing is that this flash is going to go ahead and land in CT spawn, and it completely blinds every single angle on the B site. And the benefit is that as your teammates are coming in looking at the B site, it just pops behind this wall, so they won't even get blinded at all. And it's really, really good. And of course, the flash will blind everything. Just make sure that you know that coffins will need to be smoked, because the flash actually will not blind the coffin angle. But other than that, you should be fine. Have you ever had somebody tell you that the other team can hear when you switch weapons in CS2? Well, if you have, you're not alone, because thousands upon thousands of people have heard this myth before, but the real question is it true? Some people will swear on their life that they've heard somebody switch weapons in game, but unfortunately that just isn't true. And to prove that, I actually got one of my friends to go into a server with me just to switch his guns, and as you can hear if I shut up, you can't hear when he switches weapons. But again, some people will still say, I've definitely heard this before. And to those, I would like to say that there is actually a chance that you've heard it before if you've ever watched a professional game. Because right now there's currently a bug in CS2 that allows anybody that's watching from GoTV to actually hear everything that a player can hear, including the way that their knife flips around in their hand when they're inspecting it, or even switching guns. But you can very quickly find out that if you could hear all of these things from a player's perspective, things would be kind of chaotic. I mean, just listen to this round with it on. I want to show you an angle in CS2 that I think is actually unfair, and it's on Nuke here on a site. Now, a lot of people stand on top of these silos to jump to top a hut at the beginning of the round, but if you ever wanted to switch things up, you can actually stand on top of this silo right here and look into hut. What this will do is this will give you probably the most unfair angle in the game. So when people come into hut, most of the time they're going to peek back sight. And if they don't peek back sight, you know, maybe they're going to peek towards heaven, maybe they even walk up. But as you can see, all of those angles that I just peeked, you could not see the person on top of silo. And as a reminder, if I just go here and peek this angle and place the bot from top of silo, I can see that person very clearly. If I remove this bot and take his spot, I can actually see very, very clearly and very easily. It's going to do quite a bit of damage. I think this angle is unfair. If you use the spot to hold A, you'll have a really good time. If you're worried about being exposed to door or mini, well, you obviously have teammates for that. If you ever want to rush A on Nuke, you might need to know some fast utility that you can use to support your teammates. So let me show you two utility sets that you should probably know both of. So let's start with the first one, which is obviously the util that you're going to throw from the roof. So at the beginning of the round, you're going to run up the ladder as fast as you can and make sure these windows are broken, by the way, when you're running out of spawn. You're going to look for this white line right here in line with this part of the window. You'll kind of be able to get a feeling for it the more you practice it. Then you're just going to run and jump throw. Then after that, you're going to back up and you're going to throw two flashes just like the same exact way. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a top hut Molotov as well as a good flash that will blind everybody. And the person that's in lobby is going to throw this set of utility, which is a nade for the door, because we want to blow the door up, it'll be closed, and then a smoke mini, and then a flash into mini. And with these two pieces of utility combined, we're going to get a top hut molly with god flashes that will let the people come out of hut scaled this way, and you're going to have a really good A rush. One of the most popular angles on all of Nuke is actually this angle right back here in garage. And you might be confused, Austin, this makes absolutely no sense. Why would I ever go here? I'm never going to see anyone. But you're actually wrong, and the reason that all pros like to play this spot is because they know that nobody's going to be able to wrap outside. And if they try to, they're going to have to fight back garage, which is exposed to mini, to heaven, to CT. You kind of get the idea. And the spot's incredibly safe. So at the beginning of the round, pros will sometimes just knife out all the way to this side, and they're just going to sit here and wait. And if you try to go into mini, you're going to get the kill late in the round after you don't see anyone. You also have really good fights because nobody's going to be expecting you to be garage that late in the round, and you can get a lot of free kills. And if you're worried about them wrapping heaven from top mini, your other teammates should be able to hear them. And if you're also worried about them going down secret, just make sure that you tell your teammates that they can go down secret, and it might let your opper start towards heaven, or maybe even another player can start lower. It's really good. All pros do it. One of the most important Molotovs on Ancient is this Molotov that lands towards pillar, and the reason it is because first of all, this is one of the strongest spots to hold from on B site, but second of all, if you want to take into cave with a teammate, this Molotov will actually stop the annoying operas that play in the entrance right here, because they either are going to have to leave or they're going to have to come inside and, well, deal with the T's that are coming in here and have nowhere to fall off. Now, in order to throw this Molotov, it's actually really easy, but a lot of people are missing it in CS2, and I'm not really sure if that's because they changed it or whatever, but it's super easy. You're going to come to the door on the right side here and line up against the handle. It's a super loose lineup, and just get on the corner. You're going to look for this part of the plant right here. Now, there's a bunch of leaves. There's a tall one, so you're going to look for the short one like this. You're going to line up like this and put your crosshair on the top part of it, and then just left click whenever you're ready. Molotov's going to come in here and land on the pillar just like you expect it to, and there you go. One of the most important mollies, easy peasy, never miss it again. Towards caves, there used to be a lot of really cheeky angles, but one of my favorite angles was there used to be a gap in the wood right here where you could see people through, but in a recent update, they've actually completely removed this, and now a lot of people used to use this to hold cave. They would play angles like this, because if somebody walked past the little slight pixel gap, you'd be able to see them, either spam them, or you'd be able to pre-fire them, but this has been removed, so unfortunately for all of us cave nerds, there is no longer a way to have an advantage. However, you can still do the spams. There's a lot of ways to spam, and my personal favorite way is to line up right like this, in between the light and here, and just shoot at this part of the wood. Anyone down here is going to get absolutely obliterated, and people will probably type at you and call you a cheater, so try that out instead. Just make sure that you're safe from cave, whether that be this is smoked or this is mollied. Either one is fine. Go for the spam and let me know how it goes for you guys. Recently, there's been a Molotov that's been thrown against me on every single game of Ancient that I play, and it's this Molotov on your screen here. Now, what this is a fast cave Molotov that, of course, you throw off of spawn from the T's, and it lets you take cave. So what I see as a CT is when I go to play cave, by the time I get here, this Molotov is landing, which makes it impossible for me to take cave without taking a lot of damage coming through this Molotov. So let me show you how to throw it. Now, I will just give you a little disclaimer. This is not a Molotov for beginners, but if you're a more experienced player, you could do this. So what you're going to do is you're going to come out of spawn. You're going to be running the entire time, so it's one smooth motion. You're going to get over here towards this side of the door. You're going to look for this part right here. There's this big white brick. You're going to find that, and when you do, as soon as you see it, you're going to aim at it. You're going to hold both buttons down at the same time, middle click, and you're going to run and jump throw when you get through the door, and what will happen is you're going to get the Molotov that lands inside a cave, and it's pretty strong. If you throw it fast enough, you get here before they do. You might have seen every pro player throws this Molotov if they're the cave player, and you might be wondering why that Molotov is thrown and how they're doing it, because whenever you do it, it doesn't hit. Let me tell you the trick and why this Molotov is so good. So basically what's happening is that when you throw this Molotov off spawn, it actually beats the T's to this position, so they're either going to have to eat this damage when they run up to cave, or they're going to have to waste a smoke in order to do that, and then they'll tell you that they're coming. I mean, either way, they're giving you a sound cue that they're coming. The way you throw it is that out of spawn on CT side, you're going to run and you're going to look for this part right here of the wall, this blue, I don't know, this trim, like this is border, and when you find it, you're going to aim at it. You're going to hold both buttons, middle click, like we've always talked about, both buttons at the same time, left and right click, and you're going to aim at this and jump throw when you cross this part of the wall here on your left side of your screen. And when you do that, you're going to get a perfect Molotov that's going to land here, and it's going to be pretty easy for you to hold. So what you could do then is you can go towards cave, and if you hear them ticking, then you can be ready to fight. If you don't hear them ticking, you know they're not here, and you can go for some cool wall bangs and stuff, and you'll look like a pro. If you've been watching a lot of Pro CS, you might have noticed that on Ancient, this smoke gets thrown a lot on T side, and let me tell you why it's good, and then I'll show you how to throw it. So basically, with this smoke, what's happening is it's denying all of the info that the B player would get at the beginning of the round, so they're going to have to either go in front of the smoke, which is incredibly risky for them, or they're going to have to just give it up and let the T's do whatever they want. And obviously, with this smoke, if you pair it with a Molotov, it can be extremely dangerous, because then all of the info that would previously be given to the CTs is now completely denied, and you can walk up ramp for free. So enough waffling, let me show you how to throw it, and while I do that, make sure you guys come check out my Twitch stream if you guys ever want to learn more. So you're going to line up right here on this brick like so. You're going to look for this one up here. It's on the bottom left right here like so, and then it is a tap W jump throw, and if you do that out of spawn, you're going to go ahead and get this lurk smoke. And if you did learn something, make sure you guys follow the channel, and like I said, come check out a stream sometime if you want to learn more. If you're a mid player and you hear that your opera is going for a pick towards E-box and you want to make sure that he wins the fight, you can throw a little flash for him that he doesn't even need to know about. So whenever he's ready to go for the peek, you're just going to right click running jump throw at the top of this window, and what's going to happen is anybody that's opping towards this staircase here is going to get completely blinded, and of course the player that's coming E-box won't have to worry about this because it's popping so high in the air compared to where he's looking, and so he could actually get this kill on a full blind opper. So go ahead and throw this for your teammate if he's ever fighting E-box. It works really well for riflers as well, gives them an advantage on anybody peeking. Now there's a couple other flashes that people like to throw. For example, there was this one that was pretty meta for a long time, which is the one that bounces through this window. The problem with this one, I feel like, is that it makes a couple too many bounces, and it's very easy for this player to avoid if they were to be standing like here, for example, where the window is blocked. So it's not the best flash in the world. In CSGO, I made a video talking about how it was impossible to get out of the water on Anubis without making noise, but luckily this has actually been changed a little bit. So let's talk about how water works in CS2. If you ever were to jump into the water, whether that's falling or actually jumping, you'll make a really loud splash, and it kind of sounds like this. Obviously, they can hear that all over the map, and they're going to have a pretty good idea of where you are. Now, previously, this would happen in CSGO, but what wouldn't happen is whenever you were jumping out of the water, you would make a splashing sound as well, which would make it really hard for you to be sneaky in the water. However, as you just noticed, I jumped out of the water without making noise. There is some exceptions to this though, because if you're moving when you jump out, you will sometimes make a weird splash sound, and also there is a chance, of course, if you're running when you jump out, you'll make another sound as well. So your best bet is to walk into the water on a slope and then also jump out without moving, and yeah, that's how you do water. It's pretty useful. You should probably know that. One of the most important smokes on Anubis is the E-box smoke, and I've made a video on the original smoke, but there's actually a new lineup that is used. And for those of you guys that are confused, what is E-box? You can call it whatever you want. If you call it dark cave, I'm not really sure what people in Europe call it, but in NA we call it E-box, and that is because, of course, there is a big E-box in here. Regardless, the smoke that I just showed you is really good because it gives you a little bit of a lurk smoke, which would let you play really good in pugs because you can step through here, and if anybody walks in, you'll have a little bit of an off angle. I would call it a one-way, but it's not really that. And also it lets you clear out all of E-box without ever getting spotted from sight. So let me show you the lineup. As everybody probably wants to know, you're gonna line up right here in front of these phones, put your crosshair right here on the roof, and then jump throw. You're gonna get the smoke, it's gonna be perfect, and well, you know, it's exactly what I advertised. If I were to tell you that there's an angle that's so overpowered that even Hooksy can outduel players on the other team, would you believe me? Well, you should, because let me show you one of the most overpowered angles on Anubis B site. And like I said, I'm not lying, even Hooksy can get free kills with it. It's that good. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna find this spot right here. And now you're in the angle right here. This is the angle. What's so good about it is that you're actually in a pretty decent off angle, all things considered, and you're looking through this crack in the wall. Now, the reason that this is so strong is, let me just place a bot here. Hold up, give me a second. And there we go. The reason it's so strong is that when you're peeking here, you actually can't hit their head, but the way the CS2 works in this game is that you can actually shoot right through here without any issue at all. So now if I go away, if I stand here, you can see I can just spam you, so you can't even really shoot me in the head, and I have pretty much full accuracy. Now you can do this with the op as well and make it even better, and I've actually seen a lot of oppers do this, and they can get a pretty free kill, assuming that nobody ever flashes them. And yeah, let me show you a cool little pop flash that you could throw if they're executing the site. That'll get you a lot of kills. All you're gonna do is you're gonna find yourself in this back corner like so, find the top right of this orange triangle, and then you're gonna right click jump throw, and what's gonna happen is the flash is gonna pop conveniently over the wall, and it, of course, will not blind you, and if you peek, everybody that you're looking at will be blind. And let's go ahead and see what it looks like from the enemy's perspective. As you can see, they get to see it for a whole half a second, and they're gonna get completely blind. In CSGO, one of the most popular angles to play on Overpass was behind the tree at long, and the problem was that the tree was completely wall bangable, and so if you were ever hiding behind here, in that version of Overpass, all they needed to do was take one shot at the tree, and if they heard you dink, then they knew you were there, and they could easily spam you. But one of the things that they did in this version of the map is that yeah, the tree is not wall bangable, which makes complete sense, by the way. I'm not upset about this, but it is an actual really good change because it lets you play behind the tree safely, and it gives you a lot more options. For example, you can hold really good off angles like this one, or you can hold off angles like this one here where you have a nice head glitch on people coming out. It gives you a little bit more options without having to worry about getting spammed. So go ahead and try this out on your next game of Overpass, and it might just get you a couple of kills. And if it does, make sure you guys follow the channel and, you know, share it with your friends or whatever.